The first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
Crushing, pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Grip Show. So recently, we've kind of done some recaps, interviews, some other stuff like that. If you've been following the channel, this is going to kind of bounce back to something we did in the past a little bit that haven't done in a while, but going to put out some information prior to a competition. So I think last time maybe I did something like this would have been maybe back in January for Will Giuliani's World's Strongest Grip type competition. We kind of did like maybe a pre thing leading up to it. So yeah, just wanted to get with Eric Roussin and Tremayne Desmarteaux and cover Canadian Nationals. So that's going to be coming up towards the end of this month on the 26th. So that's April 26th. And yeah, do you guys have anything that you'd like to start off with just to cover the competition, or anything you guys want? We'll just roll with whatever.
Yeah, I guess first thing, I guess just announce the events. I guess that's what everyone wants to know about a competition when they hear it. I wrote them down here in order. Yeah, I started with the Napalm Nightmare 2-inch blocks. I thought it was pretty cool. I think we did the 3-inch at North Americans. So I thought it was cool to like stick with the pinch blocks, and Arm Assassin was like the first company I bought some stuff from. I was like, oh, why not use something from them? I also had it, so that helps make the decision. That's going to be 5-pound weight jumps to a 6-inch height. Then the second event, we're jumping into Andrew's axle for the men's, and then Iron Mine axle. Is that called the Paulins axle, that one?
Yep.
Yeah, a Paulins axle for the women's. Those are going to be to traditional lockout with 10-pound jumps. Third, everyone's favorite, Little Bighorn. 6-inch height on that one with 5-pound jumps as well. I thought maybe, depending on how many signups we had, like keeping it at 5-10-pound jumps would make the day go a little faster, maybe. And I don't have that many 2.5s and 1-pound plates, so the last two events, so wrist rolling event, that one I threw in because last year we were supposed to have it at Canadian Nationals, and they couldn't figure out the schematics behind setting it up, and I received it as a prize. So I thought, why not throw it in this year in case anyone wanted to do it and was excited? And I was interested in trying that. I've seen it in some strongman comps before, but never tried it. That one's going to be time and distance. We're going to be rolling, I forget the scientific word, pronation or whatever. We're rolling forward with the wrists. You're going to be able to use the shoulders. It's going to be strapped down to a frame. So you're going to have the bar strapped down to a frame. I'm going to run a metal bar through the wrist roller, and then the strap is going to go to a yoke. So you're going to be lifting up a pin vertically, and then there's going to be some friction between the yoke bar and the rope. So that one will be pretty cool. It's going to be more like using the full arm. I guess you're not doing that as much on every event. And that would just be to a certain distance taped off. So that's the fourth event. And then the fifth blob run is probably the one I was most excited for. I think the first time I tried one was last year Nationals. The half 50 that Jason had. And then I saw Jalen doing all that stuff and Shaw, obviously. So I thought it'd be cool to invest in a run for that. We have all different blobs, so it's a little weird for me to put them in order of weight. I was thinking of just 1 point per blob. At first, I was going to put them in an order, but we have, and I don't know first gen, second gen, or what they're called, but we have some of those first, second ones. Half 30, half 35, half 40, half 50, half 65, and a half 100. Two of which I think are Eric's. Right?
Yep.
Those half 65,
Okay.
half 100.
You gonna throw the blob 50 in there, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that was an extra one that I didn't write down. So those are like the real blobs, and then we have the Holly blobs. I have 15 kilogram, 20 kilogram, 24 kilogram, and 30 kilogram.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of those that kind of fill the gap there a little bit too.
Yeah.
Go for lighter.
I also have a half 90 that I'm happy to bring. So That's
Okay,
how.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So
that'll be cool to kind of bridge that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, from
yeah,
like a
put
half
as much
70
as we
straight to a fat
can.
man. It could be, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's gonna mostly not everybody, but there'll be a big drop off between one, you know. But yeah, I think that's a good that's a solid medley, especially considering that you guys are going to be running 5 events, and that'll if that's in that order, right, it's going to be held last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last.
So yeah, I mean that's a solid blob run for everybody. And for that, just to clarify, you can are you weren't trying to organize them ladder style, just basically like a medley, just pick up what you can pick up in a certain
Yeah.
time limit, or
Yeah, so you're gonna get 1 point for each. So you're
Hmm.
gonna have to lift those tiny ones that mean nothing to you, right? Just to get that 1 point. And then that way I wouldn't have to like put them in an order because some of them have different weights, but they also have the different sizes and
Yeah.
grading to it. So and
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I like just pick up any order you want. If you want to do the hard ones first, do it. Whatever. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think it's a little reminiscent of like strongman competitions ending in a Atlas Stone run. So this is
Oh,
like the
right.
equivalent of that. So I thought it was a cool ending event.
Yeah.
yeah. Are you
Yeah.
loading them to a platform then? Is
Yeah,
that
we're
kind of
gonna
what it's?
have, I have this big wooden beam. I'm not gonna have it too high because I don't want falling down on people's toes, but I have a big wooden beam that we usually load our stones over for strongman.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're just gonna load the blobs on that, and I could choose the height by putting it on the safeties. There's like a multi squat rack that's like next to each other. I think like eight in a row or something. So
Okay, that might
yeah,
be pretty cool too, like visually, you know,
yeah,
because
yeah,
one of the things we talk about with grip is like trying to, you know, not only have events that people are, you know, I guess often contesting so they can kind of measure themselves from comp to comp, but then you also like, oh, you want events that people kind of like, but then from a not that there's huge crowds always around, but from like a visual perspective, some things just look cooler than other things. Like some things are kind of boring, even though they might be some of our favorite events. They might not look that appealing to random people walking by. But I feel like if you have this big wooden beam up and people are just basically doing like stone loading style, you know, with a blob lift, obviously, I think that might look a little bit cooler than most of the blob runs I've seen. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd
yeah.
have to see how the setup comes out, but yeah, I'm thinking that that'll look cool to anybody that's hanging out watching or other competitors as well. So,
Yeah, that's what I was
okay.
thinking about. So it's like a 8 by 8 beam, and it's about like I think 14 feet long. So yeah, I was like, all right, you know what? I'll bring it.
What's interesting about this is with that assortment of blobs, Trey, I think you'll have more than half of the blobs in all of Canada. We don't have many blobs in Canada. Like I only have a few. They're at, people want to train them, but not many people own them. So there are a lot more in the U.S. floating around than in Canada. So I think it's gonna be pretty cool because I've never had a blob. I've had a couple of blobs in a regular medley, but
Yeah.
I've never had access to that many blobs in a single location
Okay. Yeah,
in
that's a good
Canada.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's really fun. And inch run, I think, is the next thing I'd like to invest in, but that's pretty penny.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it is, and I will say this. Like I said, I want to do this fully about the Canadian Nationals here, but bringing that up, there are a couple competitions coming up
Oh, yeah.
that are kind of bringing back. I won't say bringing it back, but it's kind of weird how this stuff goes in waves sometimes. And it's like for a long time there wasn't really axle in a lot of competitions, and then within the last 6 months, it's like, oh, if you want to pull on an axle, it's like there's a competition every single month with an axle in it. And
Right.
Yeah.
like everything just kind of swung that way. Um, the other thing is that like I don't remember seeing too many other than like maybe a medley, you know, like North Americans or something where the inch dumbbell was tied in. And then the Greenville grab, they did a thing, you know, where they had like a ladder in ascending order and then rep out for maybe 2 minutes, the actual inch replica. But it wasn't really put in there a lot. And now I believe there's a competition in Minnesota coming up that is doing a double inch farmer's walk.
Yeah.
And then I
Oh,
think down for the second year of the Greenville grab, instead of doing the timed lifts, they're going to do an inch farmer's walk. So it's like everybody's almost like on the same page where it's like, oh, we might get 3 or 4 competitions or something where people are implementing inch bells now. You know, it's kind of weird, like I said, but it's going almost in different waves where things will kind of come and go. But No, I think it's cool to see, and that's a good point you brought up, Eric, with I guess not having access to blobs as much, and just being able to
As
put
far as I
together
know,
something like that.
maybe somebody out west has bought a few, but I'm not aware of anyone who has several blobs. So
I
this will
saw
be fun.
is Rob by you guys? Rob
He's
McMurray?
is about a 6 hour drive from my place, so it's
Okay,
not
so
far, but he has a few, I think maybe.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say I've seen him do some combo lifts that were
yeah,
pretty good. So I know he's hiding out with a few blobs somewhere, but I wasn't sure if he was
yeah,
close enough to you guys for that to be a thing or not.
yeah.
But okay. Anyway, I'll sorry to sidetrack you there a little bit, but yeah, that's a cool list of events, 5 events. Um, and yeah, cool to hear how you're kind of setting up the wrist rolling event and the blob run because that's a little bit different than maybe some of the other venues or in years past where other things have happened. From there, did you want to kind of jump into the weight classes or anything, or
Yeah,
is it anything else you want to bring up? But yeah, what are the events, and then hey, how are the weight classes divided up? Usually, people start trying to, I don't know, what class they're going to be in or who they're competing with. But
yeah. I could go over the weight classes, and I guess I could go over the athlete signups right now.
oh yeah, for sure.
Um, so I'll just go quickly over each class here. So yeah, we have for the women's class, there was three women's, three men. So for the women's, we're starting with U 63 kilogram. Um, right now we have signed up Corinne Lalonde, who I guess you heard of from Arm Lifting Worlds and stuff like that. And North Americans too. Very good performance. And then Rachel Hartvigsen, who's I think one of the co-owners of Nemesis Grips.
Yep.
So um that's gonna be a fun class. We got only 2 signups so far. Next up, 84 kilogram class. So we have a new person, Kimberly Vaughn Bittman. So she watched, I think, King Kong or something at the
Yeah, but
climbing comp.
she competed at my contest. She was there at the contest last week.
Yeah, so she
Yeah,
competed last week
yeah,
and she, I guess, gained interest from the King Kongs. I remember speaking to her and her partner, and
right.
then I was pretty surprised to see her sign up. So that's pretty cool to see new
Yeah,
faces show
yeah.
up. And then we have another new face, Marika Goslin, who is a local strongman competitor around Quebec,
Okay.
Strongwoman. So we'll see what they put up there. That's two in that class. And then we have Kathy Facey, who you've spoken about before on the Grip Show. Um, Also big performances at Worlds in the 84 plus. So that sums it up for the women right now. Probably have some late signups. Still have about a month, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, still got about 4 weeks out. I mean, you might get I don't know, big flood of people just rushing in,
Yeah.
last week or two or
Yeah,
something. If
I
it happens.
from looking at the list, I know a handful of people who just haven't taken the time to
Mhm.
register yet, but they will be going. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's the most women I've had in a competition so far already.
Okay.
So in strongman, I guess it's a little harder, but yeah. So that's it for the women's side. And then for the men's side, we also have the 3 classes there. Um, the 83 kg class has 4 signups, and it looks like it's gonna be pretty cool class, gonna be competitive. We have Sebastian Pacey Smith, who's from the Maritimes. I'm not sure where exactly. Um,
New Brunswick. Yeah.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
so he was the one that picked up
Yeah.
double, right? At North America.
Not the double, but he got a single. He got a single inch. Yeah.
Okay, single.
Because
Yeah.
he's lighter weight. I
Yeah.
remember. Was that at North
Fiber.
Americans, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you're talking about exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so because he's in the under 83 kilo class, so I'm not sure how much he weighs. And then we have Andrew, who's runs Nemesis Grips. So I got that nice t-shirt on here.
Yeah.
Um, Patrick Landriot, who's been setting some records and putting up some great performances, and he's the king of what is that, Nemesis, the frustration little,
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but
the
it's very,
triangle of madness.
yeah.
And it's just dry fire after dry fire when you try it. So I said I'm a big hater on that one, but I love trying it anyways, and I'm gonna try and beat him. But um, and Mark Chiarelli, he's new. Um, I also met him at that last competition.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I
So
feel like I've heard the name for some reason, even though
Yeah.
being a new lifter, I feel like I've.
He only competed in his second contest last week, but he's in his 60s, but he's very strong. He's a background in a lot of different sports, but he's right up there. So that's why that is indeed a very competitive class. Just with those names, they're all
yeah,
closely.
Mhm.
and then also late sign up Stefano.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
would finish up the class. So even with him too, he's gonna put up some numbers and
Yeah, very competitive. Yeah.
change up the rankings. And then probably the 105 kg class, I think it's gonna be one of like the nail biters, like a really fun one to watch. We have Eric, obviously, Captain Canada, defending his title from last year and defending the overall men's. So that'll be fun to see. We have David Greffard, who's a local arm wrestler. I think he spoke to Eric, and Eric introduced him to me, and he's come by my house and really impressed me. He actually picked up a 285-pound sandbag and then stood up to the extension.
Yeah.
And he doesn't train in the gym like that, you know, he just does arm wrestling. So I think he's a little taller than me or my height, and yeah, under 105. So pretty cool. Vincent Deschâtelet. So that's one of the local strongmen that I got in. So that's going to be a wild card. He's pretty good at Hercules hold, so we'll see what he does in this comp. Rob McMurrin, who we were just talking
Okay.
about, he's been putting up some videos on Instagram that
He's
pretty
strong.
impressive. So
He's
looking
real strong.
forward to that. One of my friends, Brandon Spalding, is going to try out grip for the first time. He's also in the middleweight class. He does a bit of powerlifting. And then we have a local promoter, Sam Boisjoli. He runs Festival on Force, which is just a local strongman competition that I like to go to. And it has Hercules hold every year. So I've been defending my title every year and going back this summer to do it the third time. So that's it for the 105 class. So gonna be a pretty fun battle. And then lastly, we have two heavyweights, but I do have some other guys that are gonna sign up that haven't yet. But right now it's me signed up, Tremayne Desmarteaux. And then we have Julien Desrosiers. So he's also new to it. He's a part of the Festival en Force team. They signed up like four of them together. So that's it so far. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. We have a lot of signups in the men's lighter weight and middle weights.
Yeah. I think we're going to get probably more than 30 when all is said and done. I think it's going to be a pretty good turnout. And on the weight class thing, you know, it's difficult. I'm speaking for myself, but as a promoter of a contest, it's hard. Although GSI has a lot of weight classes for records purposes, and that's perfect. When you're hosting a contest like this, you know, there's a lot of expenses, awards. You want to give nice awards, and you don't like to leave. You don't like buying awards that don't get given out. So
Yeah.
I feel that 3 weight classes is fair, right? You want sort of a lightweight, a middleweight, a heavyweight, and if you're unlucky and you're sort of your normal weight is right above a cutoff or whatever, you know, I feel it's I guess you have the option. You can gain weight, you can try and cut weight. But the point is, your record, everything you lift will be in the JSI database according to the weight you actually weigh in at. So if you're a 66 kg guy, your weight, you can still break records, even if you're in your class with 83. So I think it's important to bear in mind from the competitors that just because your class isn't offered for awards, you know, all of your lifts count for posterity in the records database. So I hope people aren't turned off or stay away from the contest for that reason. It's just the reality is we can't offer 10 weight classes per. It doesn't really make sense to offer too many weight classes, you know, so with one or two people per class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
especially if you can. Yeah. Okay, sorry, keep going, Trey. Yeah, you're good.
Oh yeah, and I'm actively like thinking of ways that I could like, you know, find ways to get more money in the sport, you know, instead of getting money from the athletes, get it from spectators and sponsors. I'm currently looking at the city to see how I would receive like grants or something to organize big sporting events or however to do it. But I'm doing the most I can to try and get as much money behind this, and I want to get money to athletes for showing up. And also, if the money, like there's more available, then I could just do the class and not worry because it wouldn't be that much of a loss. But right now I actually am over budget like every comp I host, but I just love hosting them. I love the sport, you know, and if just bringing people together and doing it makes it fine. But yeah, in the future I'm open to getting more classes as long as we have that demand, and if anyone wants to talk to me early, like when I first initially host or something's coming up, I'd be open to that. So
I'm really hoping that we get at least some representation from Western Canada because they have so many strong people over there. And
yeah.
I know Canada's a big country. I know it's expensive to fly across Canada. I'm remaining hopeful that we'll get some representation because that would really make it, all the more of a national championship, right? So,
Yeah, there's some strong heavyweight guys, and I'd love to do the
yeah,
battle against them and
Yeah, because
try and end up.
I don't know if some of these guys are out west, but is that like Brad Provic and then like James Jeffers? Are those guys like kind of more
yeah,
out that way?
all those
Yeah.
guys are, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you add those in, and you said Rob's about 6 hours in some direction from you guys. So, I mean,
yeah,
at least he's making the trip. I mean that adds another like juggernaut in one of the weight classes for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully some of those guys will be able to make it. Just the deeper the classes are, I mean, I think the better everybody kind of feels about it when it's all said and done, and the more fun I think it usually, I don't know, brings to the table.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Trey, I was going to bring up with you. I, I say being newer, but probably the last year and a half that you've kind of got into grip. I know you've done a lot of other stuff like strongman and things like that, but is that accurate? About a year and a half or so?
I think it's about 2.5 now.
Oh, two and a half. Okay, my bad.
I've done two King Kongs, I think, or three
Okay, so
now.
about 2 years. I was going on the shorter side because I feel like, but then again, yeah, you know what? You probably are right. It is probably closer to a little bit over two.
I thought
Now that I
I've
think
done
about it.
three King Kongs actually. So
Yeah,
my
two and a
first
half.
comp was King Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
and that would have been. So you're talking about King Kong 2023? Is that or no?
22,
Sorry,
22.
22. So okay,
Yeah.
so you've been doing it for a while. Yeah, sorry, my math's off here.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
but what I was going to say is within um probably what I remember seeing is like the first year of you actively competing, you were already like kind of intrigued by promoting and putting competitions together. And it seems like you jumped in on that really early compared to a lot of other people. So I just wanted to kind of commend you for that because I think it's great what you're doing, not only from the competition side, because I know you and Eric have had close head-to-head battles at a lot of these competitions and you've been putting up awesome numbers and your performances have been increasing and just getting better and better, but you're also doing a lot like you just mentioned to kind of bring in more money, different prizes, new lifters, whatever that may be. You're doing a lot to grow the sport as well in your area and kind of the surrounding region. So it's just something I felt like
Yeah, it's
should be mentioned.
fantastic. I'm so happy that I have an active promoter in Quebec. It's great. We now have active promoters in more than half the provinces, so we're getting there. And this is great. It's going to allow nationals to move around the country, which is great. I also want to mention a couple of things something that Trey's doing for this nationals. It's the first nationals that ever has an award for the overall best woman. Before, we never had the numbers to justify that, but now we do. So not only is there a special trophy for the top woman, but it's actually a bigger trophy than for the top guy.
Yeah, I thought it was cool with all the, recent efforts with the women and getting up their numbers. And yeah, I decided I wanted to get overall trophies, and then just so happened decided it was their year this year. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Can you
Very
reveal
cool.
what it is, or they just have to find out on site?
oh, did put a picture on
Okay.
my Instagram, Grip Sport Montreal, and then I also put in the Facebook event page. So
Okay.
if anyone, you should be able to see it one way or another, like that. And I put like all the trophies. So like first place trophies are slightly bigger than the second place, which are slightly
Mhm.
bigger than the third place, and then the plaques are also colored by placing. And then I threw in some of my little statues there to jazz up the photo.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, man, guys, it sounds like it's going to be a really, really interesting competition, really cool. And yeah, I hope you guys do hit that kind of like, I don't know if 30 is the target number, but Eric, if you're suspecting that,
We're
uh,
hoping to get more entries than the U.S. Nationals. Let's put it that way.
oh, okay. I'm just gonna go find people off the street and just like pay their entry fee for them. But like, hey, yeah, you're going. I'm just gonna show up with a bunch of random homeless people. No, I'm just
Yeah.
just,
Well,
just that we win that one.
you're like a year and a half behind because that's what I've been doing everywhere I go. Like Walmart, gyms, I go to new rock climbing gyms just to talk to people. So
Yeah. Um, all right. So yeah. So we have an actual. Even though North Americans is every 2 years, we at least can compete in something. So we're gonna
Yeah.
see who can bring the most people to nationals. We can add that in. So I'll inform Jason of that so he can step his game up. Um, but one other thing I was going to mention, I mean, we can get into anything else you guys want for the competition, but this is just a side note because Trey, you said Captain Canada when you announced Eric talking
Mhm.
about the roster. Eric, when's the first time somebody called you that? Can you remember?
I assume it's you,
Oh, well,
but
that's what I was going to mention because if no one ever said it before, I just wanted to give people the origin on that real quick. And I don't know, maybe people are like, I just care about the competition. I don't care
I
about
don't
this.
know.
But for
I
those,
don't know if it was. It may have been Chaz. It may have been Mad Cow, or
yeah,
you, but I'm
well,
not too sure.
okay, well,
Yeah.
I can pretty much tell you then because I think I know what it is. So,
Okay.
um, I was talking to Adam Glass, and he was talking about the first time that he saw you at a competition, Eric, maybe in Minnesota somewhere,
Yeah.
and he just kept describing you, talking about, oh man, he was just so ripped up. I mean, the dude looked like Captain America, and he kept saying Captain America. So I was like mentioning this to Chaz, I think in a chat or talking to him, and I was saying that, and Chaz just stopped, and he's like, "You mean Captain Canada?" And then we're like, "Oh, that's good. Like we're gonna stick with that." And then I think around Heavy Hands, we started photoshopping your face on like the dude with like the Canadian like Superman suit and
Oh,
stuff, and
okay.
then you know what I mean. You became like Captain Canada. But yeah, I would credit Chaz Strange for that. But yeah, it started with I think Adam Glass telling me that you basically like the first time he saw you, you were just super jacked and like Captain America. That's what he kept comparing it to, was like a superhero, Captain America. And then Chaz is just like, no, it's Captain Canada. Like, why would he, why is he Captain America? So yeah, I think that's the origin of it. So yeah, just for I don't know, bonus fun, throw that in
Cool.
there because it's kind of stuck and it's kind of become a thing. Um, but yeah, I'd have to give credit to Chaz for that. But
Yeah.
anything else to add? Did you guys want to mention? I guess people probably figured it out that it's in Quebec, and if I'm saying that, I
Oh
don't know,
yeah.
not up to your guys' standard. I'm sorry, uh, but uh, but yeah, and then that's it. Ace Athletic Gym. I don't know. Yeah, so if anybody's familiar
Yeah.
with that area or whatever,
Yeah, so it's the Ace Athletic Gym. It's just south of Montreal, just over the bridge. It's in Longueuil, and it's a gym where I usually host my strongman competitions. So very big space, nice place, pretty cool. Yeah, April 26th. I forget the start time. I guess I put it at like 10 or 11. That's what I usually do.
yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's close to south of Montreal, so there's lots of hotels there and pretty easy to get to. If anyone has any trouble, they could like send me a message if you really like don't have a ride or something.
Cool.
yeah. No, like I said, I hope you guys hit that. Well, I hope you guys hit the target number you're trying to reach, but it's still slightly less than what we get for U.S. Nationals because
Yeah.
Eric called that out. But yeah. So no. All jokes aside, man, I think it's a great lineup, Trey. I think you put together a really awesome competition, and yeah, got about 3-4 weeks here, and then I'm gonna be waiting to see videos of these blob runs and everything else, and just checking out some of the footage. Do you guys think this is just me being I guess, a spectator? Um, are you guys going to try to do any like live stream of it? I know sometimes people will do like a live stream for something and maybe throw it on Facebook or YouTube or something. Is there anything like that that you're thinking about, or just not concerned with that right now?
So what I want to do is probably just get a bunch of different shots and try and
Mhm.
edit like a nice video and get every lifter in it and then put that on YouTube.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think that would be better received because like live streams, I've looked into it for strongman, and if you want it to be good with the graphics on the screen, with someone,
Mm,
talking in the background, you're spending like 3, 4 grand, and then maybe you get like a bunch of people's family and maybe 12 people watching. So it's really hard to
yeah.
get that live stream, and then people like might not, they might talk bad on the comp because they're like the live stream was trash, like which happened with the strongman nationals recently. It was so far away in the lanes, I couldn't even tell if it was women or men going. and the
Wow.
graphics were all bad, and they weren't talking in the background, and it was a really bad. So I
Yeah.
think as soon as it's viable, I'm definitely gonna try and hop on the train. And it's really just a question of, I guess, finances. And as the years go on, though, technology gets better, things gets cheaper. So I think right now live streams out of the way, but I do want to do like a nice YouTube video and have that documented and maybe open up an account.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's a good idea too because I've seen that work for uh other like international grip promotions and stuff like that that are going on. You know, they kind of edit up stuff and it I guess becomes pretty popular pretty quick. You know what I mean? And received well that way. So yeah, I was just kind of being selfish and want like even if it's just like a pixelated nobody
Yeah.
commentating. I don't need all the fancy stuff. Even if I could just like halfway watch who's lifting what when it's going on. That was just me asking. But yeah, no, I don't blame you for avoiding all the technical, financial, whatever, having to mess around with
Yeah.
hired people or do the work yourself, right? While you're
Yeah.
trying to lift. It's tough, man. So just curious
Yeah.
on that's all I wanted to know is like, can I just like go to Facebook and check it out like while it's happening, or I'll just wait for the results. But
Yeah. Because otherwise it'd be like, I did do it at the other con and I just kind of just put my phone in a
mhm.
corner and just left it running. But then people were commenting that like, hey, you need to turn it a bit. And like I was so busy doing other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna do a nice video, maybe a long form one for people that really want to see like a lot of stuff that happened there, and then like a shorter one with like highlights and things like that, and drop the both of them.
Okay, no, I think that's an awesome idea. I think that's
Yeah.
a good thing to do. So, yeah, if there's nothing else to add, guys, yeah, I guess we'll see how everything turns out April 26th, and wish both you guys the best as far as competing goes, and hopefully you guys can win your weight classes or win an overall because you guys both might be in the running for the overall, right?
It'll be.
It's very possible. So, yeah. And I think this is also a cool thing too, Eric, that I don't want to go back to it too much, but you mentioned, the blob event kind of being a new thing where there hasn't been that many blobs maybe in one place for a competition. So you don't really know how certain people might do on blobs. Someone might
Yeah.
show up and surprise you a little bit. Somebody might do a little underwhelming on that, but they kill the other events because they're so strong at it, but maybe they're unfamiliar with lifting them. So I think there's a couple wild cards in there that, you know what I mean? I'll just say this. It's one of those things when I look at the roster that's been named and the potentials that might show up, and I look at the 5 event lineup, I can't definitively say just, oh, well, so and so is going to win this or so and so is going to win that. And that's always a good thing, in my opinion, when you're seeing rosters and you can't necessarily just, predict the future or give it to whoever. Where like some of these competitions, you look at the lineup, you see the roster, and you're like, okay, so and so is clearly winning. Who's going to battle for third and
Yeah.
fourth?
This
So
Yeah.
this event is hard to predict.
mhm.
The events that Trey selected, it's going to be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And for me, I guess being a fan of the sport, that's something I like is if I look at the lineup and I don't know who's going to win or I don't know who's going to do what, I tend to follow those competitions a little bit closer because it's more exciting to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be a good one, guys. So yeah, I'll go ahead and sign off with that. And yeah, best of luck competing, best of luck hosting, Trey. And yeah, man, I think it's good. There's a lot of great stuff happening for both nationals, and Australia has their nationals coming up. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now in grip sport that's pretty cool. Kind of just seeing all
Yeah.
these different regions hosting, and hopefully keep getting numbers and momentum built, and yeah, just keep the sport growing. So I'll
Yeah.
basically end it with that. And Trey, I'll give you last words. Any last thing you want to say?
I just want to say thank you for using your platform to help us get the word out, and it's always great. I love bringing people in the sport, and this was a great way to do it. So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, and like that's why the show's here.
Yeah.
Is for stuff like that is just to put word out and try to promote stuff and get things out there. So yeah, no problem at all, man. And like I said, wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully you get that good turnout. Oh, Eric disappeared on us.
Oh.
It's all good. He froze like he was asleep there for a while, but
Yeah.
cut it out. We'll leave it in. I don't know. We'll decide. But but yeah, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll sign off with that. Like I said, best of luck, guys, and we will be doing a recap, I'm sure, at some point, hopefully, and check back in for the results. So,
Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
yep.
Do a grip salute.